Hello. So today we are going to solve Leetcode April one problem of Leetcode April challenge. This is, I think, Leetcode April 9. Yeah, April 9 challenge. So yeah, let's get started. So the problem says we get an integer array numbers and an integer k, and we want to return the k most frequent elements. So we're going to return the kth most frequent elements, all of them, in any order. Okay, so this seems like a priority queue question, so we can just turn this into, I think, heap. So heap q dot heapify nums, and then we can just return the it wants the most frequent, not the largest. Okay, so it wants the most frequent element. So basically, the ones that occur the most often. That's what we want here. We can probably maybe just use counter, and then just take the largest ones. So let me try this here in the okay. So now that we have that, so counter of A will give us, so from collections import counter. And then if we do counter of A, that will give us the highest occurrences. I think counter has something like, so basically, let's put this in a variable. So Python counter. Yeah, it has the most common function that we can use. So most common, maybe 2 elements. It should return us 1 and 2. So it returns the values there. And what we want is a list of the numbers, so a list of integers. So this, but in a list. So we could just do that. I'll just put it in this. And what we want is the first element, that's the value for x in list. Right? And that should give us the what we want. So let's do that. So this would be counter of, I'll just turn this into A. And we want the most common k elements, right? And we want to get x1 for x in that. Then we can return it. Okay, so I think I did something wrong here. What we want is the 0, the first value, not the second. Yeah. So this should be x0, 1 and 2. I think we may be also able to, what if I just destructured like this, x and this, and just do x? Yeah, that works as well. So we could actually use that. So x for this. So this is the value, this is the how many times it occurred. And yeah, I think that should work. Okay, yeah, so that works. I wonder if we also use a priority queue, how would that work? So it did say something else here as a follow-up. Your algorithm time complexity must be better than open. So we shouldn't sort and then return the, what's the complexity of most common? It doesn't say, okay. So Python complexity of k bigger than one element, then it uses heap q under the hood. And so it essentially, which is very good for small constant k. So it's okay of k like k essentially. It should be smaller than of n like n. Okay, so it's of n like k, which is smaller than of n like n. Okay. Okay, I wonder though if there is a different way we can solve it. Let's think about it. We can just use actually a heap priority queue ourselves, which is a heap queue, and push a tuple in, and the tuple would be if we can have the tuple be value and occurrences, then that should work. Yeah, we should be able to do that, I think. So we create the counter ourselves. We could do this also with a map, right? I'll do it first with a counter, then after that do it with a map. So this would be value and occurrences in c.items. And now we need our heap. And then we could do heap q dot heap push. And what we want to push is the value. We want to sort by occurrences. So we want to push actually occurrence first and then value. Okay. And now if we do this, then to return our list, we could just pop heap q dot heap pop from h for how many times we want to do it, k times. So for in range of k, I want to return this. We'll see if this works. Oh, okay, we need to pass the heap itself. Okay, so the heap pop will return us the occurrences and then the value. Okay, so this is actually occurrences and then value, like this. Okay, let's see what items is the value and then the occurrences. So value, if we do c.items, it's the value and then the number of occurrences. So it's actually this. So we want to get the first element. Okay, what if we use more? Okay, let's try to submit this. Okay, we have one problem with this. So this is -1 and -1. Let's focus on those. Okay. It seems like it returned the value instead of the occurrences, which is weird. So let's print h. Yeah, so we have the occurrence first instead of the... Yeah, that's what makes sense. We added the occurrence first, so it should be 1. But why for the previous test cases it worked. Okay, yeah. So the problem is heap Q is a min heap, so it returns the smallest. So what we need actually is minus here, and then we do minus. We want the value, so we just do this. Yeah. So we turn it into a max heap first. How can I? Yeah, we turn it into a max heap first. And so we turn it into a max heap first with this minus, and then what we are interested in is just the value, which we didn't change, so we can just print it like that. So if we run this and submit, it does pass. Okay. Now the second thing we should try is try to pass just a map. Just use a map, right? That keeps. So I would use default dict just so that we can have default values, right? And did not have to initialize ourselves. And so we could do this. And then for our map, we need to add X. So this is for counting occurrences. So let's say let's give it that name. So each time it occurs, we add 1. And then we do this. So the value is the key. And then one thing though is, does M have items? I don't think so. We just need to iterate through it. So just need in M. Okay, let's try this. Sorry, in occurrences, I renamed it. Okay, this is bad, so let's just say M here, because we already have occurrence variable here. So with this, we still need to initialize our heap. Submit this. Yep, so that passes as well. Yeah, let's just clean this a little bit here. And that should pass. Okay. Okay, so next, I think, let's just take a quick look at how others solved it. Okay, so I see a couple of usages of bucket sort. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is similar to my solution, except in Java. Okay, so yeah, let's see how others have done it differently, possibly. So here we initialize a counter of the items, and then we do a bucket of each frequency. And so for each frequency, we have a list of numbers. And then it seems like we flattened that list. And then we reverse it and take the k largest ones. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this makes sense. Yeah, maybe we can dissect it a little bit, but it does make sense. Basically, we put the frequencies in as the keys and the value, the numbers that have that frequency as the values. Then we flatten the list, right? And then we take the ones with the kth largest, the kth elements in reverse order. Those would be the ones with the highest frequency, right? Yeah, I think that makes sense. But I think a good way to see it would be to just open a terminal here and just have a equal to this. And then what we want to do is just do counter of a. So this would give us just the occurrences. And now what we can do is put the occurrences in a list. I think a nice way to see this would be if we make a has 2 3s as well, and then maybe 1 4. Right, so now if we do counter, it would be this. And from there, we need to have buckets of frequencies. So to do that, we can just go through. So we'd have the key and then the occurrence. So key, occurrence in count dot items, right? And then, yeah, you need to initialize first. We need to initialize a bucket. As a list, and then from there, if we do this, we'd have bucket of the occurrence. We can append the key. Okay, so yeah, we need to have it the size be. I think if we want to use a list, we want it to be as much as the largest value, largest number of occurrence. I think we can just do a bucket to be list so that we initialize it, and this is for how many we need. We can just take the length, right? We would not reach more than the length of occurrence of the list. Okay, this would be range. And now this will give us these, and now we can go back to the for loop we have and do this. Okay. So we'd have bucket of the occurrence, unless maybe, okay, let's just print and see what we get. Print key and then occurrence. Oh, okay, so there's a problem actually with the indentation here. So if I do this, yeah, that works. Okay, so I need to add indentation myself here. So this should work. And if I take bucket, it does have what I want. And now I need to flatten this list. So this would be from the smallest occurrence to the largest, and that's right here. That's correct. What we want to use is flattening this. So how do we flatten it? Okay, so I think it would be good to put it in Replit here so that it's easier to see the entire code. So let's just bring our A here for experimenting, and then we have this. and then the counter, and we could add to it. Okay, so already did that, and then after that we need to define our buckets, right? Yes, so to define our bucket, what we did is something like this, so that we can have it for all possible frequency counts. And we need this, and then we can have this for each frequency. Okay, since I'm doing frequency, let's just do it like that. Okay, so now that we add, we can just print bucket. Okay, I think it would be good to rename it like this. And if we run it, we need to import counter, and now we know that 3 occurs once, 2 occurs twice, and 1 occurs 3 times. Okay. Now what we can do is, remember, what we want is the top k frequent ones, right? So that's just like the ones from the right, the end, to the front. So the top 3. Now my problem would be that these empty ones here, but once we flatten, we will have only 1, 2. We would have, if we flatten, then we'd have only 3, 2, 1, and we could just take from the right side, from the end, going to the front, and that will give us the frequent ones. And so what we can do here is basically do exactly that. So that would mean buckets. Okay, so we want to flatten the list. So how do we do that? Definitely the simplest thing is just list in buckets, right? And then have like flatten list like this, and then this is like this, and then we do this. We append sorry. So if, let me just do this here. So if I have actually something like B, like this. So what I want is X for X in B, but that will give me the same thing. What I want is, does this work? No. So if you have X equal to 3, X in list for list in B, this is what I want. Okay, yeah, I would need to do for this, maybe for X in list. Yeah, so this is what I want actually. And now what I want to do is, so now that I have the flat list, I could just reverse it and take the k first elements. So if we do this, run this, oh, it's not B, it's actually just buckets. K is input, so k equal to 2, maybe. And now we need to print this, since this is our result. And see what we get. So we get 1 and 2, which is the right thing. Okay. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we could do this. So this is the logic. Let's go here. and we need to return this. Okay, so we have a problem when the list is only one element. Okay, yeah, I should have tested that. Another thing I wonder is, can we just do, instead of doing this, maybe do -k? Does this work? No, that gives us just the... Looks like this somewhat may work, but okay, so the problem is that it's out of range because the length is 1, and the frequency here would be 1, so it should be 0. That's the problem. So we need can it be 0? No, the length has to be at most at least 1. Okay. Okay, so that passes. Interesting. So basically we do the buckets of frequencies with the frequency being the index of the array, and then we flatten the list, and then the ones at the end, the k elements at the end, those are the top most frequent ones. Can we do it though without, we can do it without counter, I think. So can we do it without counter here? I wonder if we could do it in the same... Yeah, I wonder if we can do it in the same iteration, like, let's say, just the construction of buckets. So if we just go through the array and without counter, so we would have a value here. We'll need another map, right? Yeah, it becomes very complicated to do it in one step. I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this. I think this should be enough. Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.